You're checking out Pyro Radio this Monday night with me, Jay Fresh. Now, normally when I have guests joining me in the studio or on the phone line, more time it's artists and then producers. Not so many times do we have producer DJs, but I thought, you know what, let's flip the script right now. And we've never done a radio interview when I've been on this side of the desk. I'm talking about DJ Cable. He's our special guest. What's happening, bro?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. How are you? You good?
I'm really good, man. Do you know what? The timing, you know what it's like with friends within the music industry. Like, we hadn't spoken for quite a little while, and then we had a phone call about a week or two ago, and then obviously your new track came out, and it just made sense to get you on the show. So we're not going to go over stuff we discussed a week or so ago, but in general, it has been a while since we've connected. How is life? How is the family? How is the world of cable right now?
Yo, it's cool, man. I can't complain. I mean, obviously, like, COVID done messed a lot of things up in terms of like live bookings and, you know, majority of, not just myself, but like loads of other DJs' income and producer DJs' income. So, like, that was obviously the bad side of it. But the beauty of having the last year to kind of chill really was, you know, get my sleeping pattern back to normal, which I haven't done. I can't even tell you, like, the last time I was in bed at like 11 o'clock on a Saturday night and I was getting up at 7 or 8 a.m. I mean, obviously a little bit early these days with a little one, but getting up, you know, at the time that normal people do. And I'm like, oh wow, this I could actually get used to this. This is quite nice. And, you know, having also the free time spent with like the missus and the little one as well, which has been great. You know, I think in normal circumstances I wouldn't have had anywhere near the amount of free time, you know, given my schedule with gigging and that. So that's been obviously a blessing to come out of it, but also to be able to have the free time to make music and, you know, really kind of get back into producing records and producing records for artists as well. You know, not just necessarily like throwaway rhythms or refixes or anything, actually sitting there and, you know, structuring something and being like, right, cool, I want to get an artist on this. Do you know what I mean? Because it's been a while, you know, and like I said, you know, we spoke the other week and I was saying probably, like, to my own detriment, I was probably DJing a little bit too much over the last few years. I think that kind of overtook and neglected the production side a little bit. So having this sort of time to kind of sit down and sort of refocus on what I want to do with my career, it was like, well, cool, you know, now's the best time to like start, you know, cranking out music and you know, sending bits to people, sending bits to labels, and yeah, like it's good, man. Like I'm in a good place right now. You know what I mean? Good.
It's really positive to hear, and I wanna touch on what you said there about going to bed at what most normal people in inverted commas would say is a normal time. Like, used to going to bed now at a normal time, getting up as a normal time. Are you worried about getting back in the clubs and having to be up till 2, 3, 4, 5 a.m. and then get up to check out the hotel at 8 a.m. to get the plane or the train somewhere? Because that's going to be a challenge, I feel. I'm kind of a bit anxious about that. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, there were things about the old world, as I'll call it, that I miss. So obviously I miss being in the club. I miss, you know, club hopping on a Friday, Saturday night in between gigs. You know, if I've got like an early gig and I've got the rest of the night free, I can go into Shoreditch and I can go to P's and see CJ, or I can go Box Park and see Sandra, and I can kind of do my market research about what's popping in these particular venues. I miss the social side of it. The things I don't miss is, you know, the kind of lonely drives back at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, having to stop off and get a coffee or stop and rest because I might fall asleep at the wheel, or like you said, playing a gig overseas and getting too drunk and then having to like rush to the airport with like half an hour to spare to get my flight back, and because I've got a gig that night, and you know, those little stressful things, which I guess is all part of the process and part of the journey, and it's probably why we secretly love doing it. That kind of adrenaline rush, like, you know, running down the airport concourse with like your DJ bag and, you know, shoes and your jacket falling off and everything. But yeah, I am a little bit anxious kind of going back to like straight into that maybe. I mean, last summer I was actually fortunate to kind of do like a few daytime parties and obviously venues and events where there was a curfew in place and we were done by like 11 o'clock. So that was kind of cool. And if it's like a slow transition from that into like finishing at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, that's cool. But But I'm just missing being in the clubs, man. So, I mean, I'm sure, like, whilst I'm sitting here moaning about driving at home at 4 a.m, once I'm out there, playing tunes and seeing the crowd like shock out and that, then I'll be like, oh yeah, cool on. Life's good, life's back to normal.
Yeah, man, that's just the DJ drug, though. To any listeners here on Pyro right now who don't DJ and think, well, DJs, they just seem to love it, or they always go on about clubs not being open or whatever. But it's like, it's deeper than just liking music. It's deeper than just liking certain artists or a genre. It's so much part of who you are, and part of your identity is finding new music and sharing it. And you find music and you think, oh, they'll love it. And when you say they, you're talking about the club you play in, or the venues you play in, or the promoters you play for. So I feel like a little bit of me has been like missing over the last few months. But for you are very passionate about the whole culture of DJing. And like so much has changed over the last 12 months. And, we've seen DJing, we've seen people step away from DJing. We've seen people really embrace kind of live streaming. We've seen people, be very kind of anti-live streaming. What's your kind of perspective on the kind of the state of DJing right now, moving forward? Where do you think it's at?
I don't really think it's kind of gone anywhere. If anything, people have, taking the opportunity to either explore other avenues, which is great. I mean, there's people that are doing like really like side businesses in tandem with DJing. Obviously, like Shouts to Bubble, for example. Like, I know he's like super busy in the clubs and that, but he went back in, focused on his edit business. I've got my edit business as well. Both doing pretty well as a side hustle with that, and obviously he's focused on his YouTube, and now he's got the Vlad TV hookup. So you're seeing people kind of diversify a lot more. You're seeing people get into tuition, like, Bradley BDJ, for example. He's like teaching, access to music courses and how to DJ and stuff. There's like loads of people doing great things outside of DJing. I think that having the time to sort of slow down and also, like I said, like look after yourself and not just be in the club 24/7 has been a great help to people. But also, you've had people that have taken this opportunity to pick up DJing as well and to learn a new skill. And, older DJs might hate on it and being, oh, you just bought a controller and you're now calling yourself a DJ. But everyone starts somewhere, and, now's the last 12 months has been the perfect time for any wannabe DJ wanting to kind of get into it. And, even if you weren't playing out in the club, even if you weren't that busy on the circuit, being able to like live stream and like cultivate and put, not cultivate, but build a fan base, and now that fan base could potentially buy your merch or like come to your gigs when you start playing out and when you get booked. So I think it's been wicked. I mean, I think there's been a lot of people that are hating on live streaming, and I get it. It doesn't feel that there's no replacement for that feeling you get in a club when you're killing it, but it's also helped people showcase more of their personality. You're talking more, you're playing different music, you're digging deeper, you're kind of putting your own personality on like how you present yourself, whether it's like overlays or any kind of animation, or do you know what I mean? You're able to kind of really sort of reinvent yourself. And actually kind of put your own personal stamp on it, because I think prior to that, I think a lot of DJs were interchangeable. Like, you could turn up to any club in a busy city, and chances are everyone's going to be playing the same records, albeit in a different order. So I think now this is really kind of, DJs are really, like the good ones have really embraced it to kind of be like, nah, do you know what, this is what I'm about, and, sort of market themselves that way. So yeah, man, I think it's like, live streaming is wicked, and I think DJing's in a really good place. You've got people like Andy P, who's like killing it with his routines, and was like doing, I think, one routine every day during the first lockdown, which was insane.
I forgot about that. Yeah, super active.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for real. So you're seeing people like Mine Too Smooth to break off and do a side project with Home Alone, like doing like R&B over like 80s instrumentals and stuff like that. You're kind of seeing like mad different creative things come out of this at the moment. So if anything, like DJing's in a wicked place right now. I can't complain.
Do you know what? And that's so great to hear, man, because do you know what? I think we always get to a point within music where we often say we just don't have enough time. There's just too much to do. I mean, today is just a prime example of that. But what we have had is a little bit of time for reflection, a little bit of time to actually consider what we thought works for us might not work for us anymore. You said earlier on in the interview about, and last time we spoke, you were so heavy in like the gig side of things that it was difficult to see the bigger picture, to take that step back and go, do you know what, if I just take that gig off, it gives me more time to experiment in this way production wise, so it gives me an opportunity to go and do this instead. Or obviously now with the family, like that side of things, your life priorities obviously have had a chance to be reassessed. So man,
and on a deeper level as well, like like stepping away from these gigs and that, and not stepping away, obviously, like you probably have to edit this out because I'm going to waffle on and stuff, but yeah, man, not having these gigs in place and obviously doing a few bits and pieces here and over the summer, it shows you what you can survive on and what you can live on comfortably as well. And you don't need to be playing out, like you don't need to be doing like 25 to 30 dates a month like I was doing stupidly, or you don't need to be like doing 3 gigs a night on a Friday or something crazy. You can you don't need to say yes to everything. You can take a step back, you can be more selective about where you want to play. I think like I said, it's very easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle, and like being on the circuit and being busy, and it's great, like it's great being out there. It's obviously great developing more of a fan base, being out in the clubs all the time, but and it's obviously great financially, but at the same time there is that balance between having a great bank balance and a great quality of life. So like I said, you don't need to be out in the clubs all the time, and I think maybe a lot of DJs have kind of seen the same thing as well. I think I'm probably not the only one who's going to be sitting there thinking, yeah, I'm going to go back into it, I can't wait to go back into the clubs, but I'm probably not going to go as hard as I want to. Yeah, we all took like a bit of a financial dip over the last like 12 months, but my mental health and my physical health and my general well-being is probably a lot healthier than it was like 18 months ago when I was out like in the clubs all the time. So it's it's going to be an interesting one, man. I mean, that's just my personal take on it. I mean, I ain't got the answers for everyone, but yeah, it's I think moving forward, it's things are looking positive, man. I think you're going to see a bunch of DJs who were probably not loving the job prior to COVID coming back into us, sort of like with a renewed outlook on it, and with a renewed outlook on how they're going to play and what they're about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And the key takeaways I'm getting from what you just said right there is that your kind of mental and physical well-being are in a really, really good place compared to perhaps where they're previously, where you're just not aware because you're busy working. And I think that's just not for us in music and DJs and producers and radio presenters and whatnot. I think that's for a lot of people. And like you said, you know what? This lifestyle change, I've managed to take something positive from that now works for me. Like me personally, I hate running. Running is the most boring thing. Shout out all the runners out there who love it. But I pretty much run every day. I hate it in that I don't find it interesting, but I see multiple benefits for me doing it. Obviously gyms have been closed, so that's why I've been doing it. So it's something that I've become more aware of. So that growth that you've just mentioned there for you, and the quality of life, is really, really good to hear, bro. But we are DJ geeks, and we can kind of talk all day and night about everything about DJing, which is amazing. But I want to move the convo up now onto your new track. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. I'm going to let you pronounce the track and then tell me all about it, bro.
Yeah, so it's Ungusabi, and it's a Zulu word for what it translates as "Don't be afraid." So yeah, shouts to Robin Furfloy. He obviously named the tune, sort of broke down the whole meaning behind it, and so that's really how you pronounce it, and that's what it means.
So in terms of Robin, did you guys know each other before? Were you put into contact with a mutual friend? Did you find him online? How did that kind of connection come around, Cable?
So basically it was just a mutual connect that we had. A girl called Ange, she lives down in Cape Town. Cult of Ange, shout her out on Twitter. She does really good brand development, brand collabs and stuff out there. And yeah, obviously I know her through like other South African producers and DJs and stuff. And I'd made this instrumental about a couple of years ago. Done it in like a hotel room in Germany, believe it or not. I was just like making like just some edits and stuff, and kind of made this loop and sat on it and brushed it up and thought, it kind of sounds a bit like you know, sort of UK funky South African house type vibe. And at that point I was like, oh man, yeah, it would be good to do like an international collab. Like I've worked with like some wicked like UK artists, and that also at the same time I was like, oh man, UK artists are a little bit of a headache to deal with as well sometimes.
I don't know what you mean, Cable.
You know, no dissing, but you know, the game's the game, innit? And yeah, so I reached out to Ange and I was just like, yo, I've got this beat here, got a couple of bits, who's on the come up? Because like previously I'd done lots of remix work for like Ricky Rick, who's like one of the biggest rappers in SA at the moment. So I was like, well, he's probably a little bit unattainable at the moment, you know. Same with like Casper, same with like AKA, same with like Reason as well. So I was like, yo, who's up and coming, who's hungry, who's like really good? And she like reeled off a couple of names, but she's like, yo, we should definitely hit Robin. So I was like, cool, can you put us in touch? Send the email, I checked out his music, I was like, yeah, this is fire, man. Like he's, you know, on that sort of wavy kind of vibe, you know, he feels himself as like an alternative hip hop rapper, but you know, he can spit bars, man. Like he, you know, he's 30. And so I sent him some bits over. I sent him like some 140 bits, but that was the beat he picked. He was like, yo, this has got that SA vibe, it's super grimy as well, let me do something on it. So I was like, all right, cool. He sent the parts back, and I didn't even touch any of it. I was just like, yo, this is crazy. You know, sent it to my boy Dusty Owens, he mastered it, and a lot of it's just been kind of sitting here waiting for the perfect time, because you know, I've been sitting on this tune for like nearly a year now.
Wow.
And obviously I thought I could have dropped it last summer, but I thought maybe it's a little bit too early to do that. You know, things are just starting to open back up, because that's the thing as well. You know, producers are like sitting on like, mad tunes right now, and you know, everyone's kind of like taking that gamble, like, do you release something now or do you hold back? And I thought, you know, let me sit back a little bit. Obviously lockdown 2.0 and 3.0 happened, and I was like, all right, cool, let's just try it out for this summer. You know, he was itching to get this joint out, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And yeah, man, the rest is history. Like I like his energy, I like his flow. He's a cool guy to work with, super easy to work with as well, which is, you know, even better. And yeah, man, you know, we're kind of still going back and forth, and got a couple other ideas in the pipeline and that. So it'd be good to kind of explore this sort of UK South Africa connection, because I think there's a lot of similarities in, you know, like in terms of the music as well. You know, Mapiano's like blowing up over here, is over there. Obviously that kind of UK funky / com kind of sound as well, that's still like popping in the clubs. And you know, again, there's still like that kind of element of like UK production in there. Like it sounds like a grime tune as well as it sounds like an SA tune. So yeah, we're looking to like kind of maybe sort of explore that a little bit more and sort of merge like two different sounds together and yeah, see what we come up with, you know what I mean? But
for you, I mean, the track's been out, you know, a hot minute right now. It's been getting some good support, some traction here or there. You've mentioned before you are getting back into the kind of routine of regularly releasing music and things like this. Was there any kind of hesitation stepping back in? Were you curious about whether people who once supported your music will continue to support you? Or were you just like, you know what, I'm not even worried about all that. I'm just going to get back in there, get in the studio, start putting out tracks, and wherever they land, like, I'm good with that. We'll keep it moving.
Yeah, a bit of both. You know, like, you know, I'm quite privileged in the position I am, where I know a lot of people on radio and I know a lot of people within the scene, so instantly I'm able to send tunes to people, and there's, you know, I've got a good peer group where I can send records. They want to be like, yo, what do you think of this? And get feedback. And you know, I'm not naive to it. I know not everyone's going to support my tune and not everyone's going to play it, and I should never expect anyone to kind of play my record straight away just because I have a professional relationship with them. But so I don't really kind of, that doesn't really kind of faze me. But at the same time, you know, after taking the best part of like 3 year break, 2.5 3 year break from, you know, releasing music, you know, I think my last one was with YS Wave, like Ready for This, and that was like October 2018, I think. So it's been a while. And, you know, sometimes you do wonder, oh man, you know, I'm going to come back in, you know, are people going to even, you know, our regular club DJ is going to remember that I make tunes, because people just know me just through DJing primarily, rather than, you know, I'm a DJ first and producer second. But you sometimes need to push that voice of doubt to the back of your head. And I think, you know, with anything, whether it's even like the creative process of like making a tune, you know, yourself as a producer, you can sit there and create like a fire loop, and then all of a sudden that like voice of doubt starts coming in, you know, oh, is this good enough? Do you think I should be putting this out? Do you think I should be sending it to someone? You know, and you need to kind of like just remove that from the room and just, you know, trust the process. And, you know, like I said, you know, I've taken a 2.5-3 year break from releasing music. So I'm essentially coming back into this, and the whole structure's changed, the whole model has changed, you know, like how people promo stuff and release stuff has changed, how people utilize social media platforms like IG and TikTok, and, you know, there's more of an emphasis on Spotify playlists now than there was 3-4 years ago. You know, you've now seen the shift from people wanting to be on the A and B list to now wanting to be on New Music Friday. It's quite interesting to like kind of step back and watch this, and yeah, it's a little bit daunting. You know, you're kind of going into this a little bit blind, but at the same time, it's also exciting to kind of be back out there producing music. And as we all know, consistency is key. You know, like, and this has showed, you know, like I'm kind of taking baby steps back into it. And yeah, man, I'm not really too fussed about whether people support or not. If people like and support it, it's always a bonus. But, you know, I'm confident in what I'm putting out. And if personally I like what I've put out, and if someone's liked my tune enough to rap on it, then I guess, you know, some people out there must like it. So yeah, man, you know, I'm just glad to be out releasing tunes again.
It's really positive to hear, but like I said, the energy around what you're doing right now, from getting back in the clubs, from still kind of experimenting, enjoying it. And enjoyment is the key word that I'm taking from everything we've spoke about today. Like, you're excited to get out there and share new music. If people love it, great. If they don't, it's cool. You might like the next one. Do you know what I mean? We'll kind of keep it moving out here.
Yeah, for real, man. Because, I mean, you know, you can't beat yourself up about it. Like, you know, I think you can't put all this pressure onto, like, putting a tune out there with the, you know, like, if I was to release something and be like, all right, cool, I'm releasing this with the intention of getting on the A-list or whatever. And I've put all this pressure on myself, and I think, yeah, it's going to happen, I'll do this. And, you know, if I've done it, then if I get on the A-list, wicked. If I don't get on the list, I'm going to be super bummed about it. I can't, you know, I can't, what's the word? Yeah, you're really going to have to edit a lot of this shit out.
Can't control that. Can't control where it goes.
Yeah. You can't control, like, you can't control the fate of a record. You know what I mean? If it gets picked up, it gets picked up. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know, if you know, if you're a decent enough producer, you're just going to write something just as good, if not better. And you know, that's my philosophy. You know, like I said, I can sit here and be negative about it, and I've done that in the past, but I think now is really, like I said, having this time to sort of reflect on everything. It's just, just enjoy it. Like, you know, if someone doesn't play your tune, it's not the end of the world. If you don't get the top 40 hit, it's not the end of the world. You know, as long as there's like people supporting it, you know, in different territories, as long as there's like, you know, DJs such as yourself supporting my music, then that's cool, man. I'm happy with that. Do you know what I mean? So
100%, man. We're on the same wavelength with that, and I think it's a discussion. You know, when you start releasing music and that kind of side of your career kind of moves forward, different people kind of come around you, and they have their voice or their energy or their kind of driving factors. And then, you know, sometimes you go a bit this way, sometimes you go a bit that way, but you find that point. Some people are lucky and find it early. You find that point where you're just, in a good way, very comfortable with where you're at musically. That doesn't mean you're settling. Yeah. You're still like, you know, very ambitious, but you feel comfortable. And it's like, do you know what? We've been doing this stuff quite a while now. Like, this isn't a game. It isn't a bit of fun. We enjoy the fun, but it's the longevity. It's the fact doing it for another decade, however long, you know, buying another house out of it or whatever someone's plans might be. And actually, I see it as building that kind of legacy, as opposed to just trying for that quick hit, or like I said, just chasing that one breakthrough moment or that hit record or that hit thing, because that's an awful lot of pressure, financially and mentally as well. That's crazy.
Yeah, and also, you know, I think just chasing hits for quick bucks and that, it's a short shelf life as well. You know, I think if you do stuff with the best of intentions, if you're cutting records with, you know, because you're enjoying it, that's going to have a lot more of a lasting effect than, you know, someone who's, you know, all right, cool, I'm going to go make a drill record now because it's popping, or I'm going to go make a tech house tune because that's popping in that world. And, you know, just throw it out into the ether. And, you know, obviously if you score top 10, wicked. But as we know, trends change very, very quickly within this game. So, you know, unless you're willing to constantly chase, like, it's, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of like going off on a tangent here, but yeah, I think, you know, always like trying to chase that top 10 and trying to chase that like quick buck. Your career's not going to last that long. I think, you know, just do you in it, and I think that's what I've learned over the last sort of 5 years, really, with like the music I was putting out. You know, there's some stuff I've done which I'm not overly pleased about in terms of like remix work and things I took on which I probably shouldn't have taken on, and that was obviously just because of like who was around me at the time. But yeah, you know, now I'm in a place where I'm happy to kind of make the music that I want to hear, and you know, like I've said to you as well, like I'm happy playing a UK funky record up against playing like a Griselda record, for example, and that just kind of shows me in like my production process now. So, you know, if I want to go off and do this crazy ass like beat tape that I was chatting to you about like 3 weeks ago, then, you know, so be it. Yeah. And then, you know, if I want to go and drop like some 140 club tune, or if I want to go and make like just a grime tune that's pure synths and no drums, kind of like a Wiley Devil mix, I'm not going to do that. You know, that's me, that's what I like, that's what I play. And, you know, like I said, you know, I'm doing this with the intention of, yeah, cool, you know, I'm taking it seriously, but again, I'm just having fun with it. And this is why we got into it, right? We got into DJing because it was fun. We got into buying records because it was fun. And we got into like making tunes because, yeah, something else I want to do that's a career progression, but it also seems like fun. I'm not doing this like for, you know, with the intention of like, right, cool, I'm going to make this tune because I want it to go viral on TikTok. Do you know what I mean? It's, you know, I think it's the wrong outlet to have.
Do you know what? That would be, sorry to cut you there, but that would be the funniest thing ever, because I've known you for a long time now and I know how you operate and how you look at things. If you turn around, you know, tomorrow and made like a bashment tune, and a day later you made a tech house tune, then a drum and bass tune, and then I saw you doing some dance on TikTok, that would be the biggest shock ever, I think, musically, because that's just not you. Do you know what I mean? That's so not you.
Yeah, man.
I'm really glad that it's really good to hear that you're in such a positive place, especially music wise, and you touched on it there. It's a very interesting thing that always comes up when we catch up with DJs. It's like, you know what, we did this because we got into DJing because we thought it was fun, and it was fun, or we started being fans of genres of music or artists because it was fun. And
yeah,
you know, I think all of us to some degree, some of that fun perhaps has got lost a little bit along the way with other pressures, but there's been a little bit of a reset and we can now get back into it with that level of kind of fun and enthusiasm, then that gives us the best results. A prime example being your new track. So thank you so much for joining us here at Pyro today, Cable. I know we can talk all night long, but right now I want you to introduce your brand new tune and we're going to press play on it.
Yo, what's good, everyone? It's DJ Cable, and right now you listen to a boy Jay Fresh right here on Pyro Radio, and this is my new joint Ungasabi featuring Robin Third Floor, UK SA Connect right here. Turn up loud, let's go, man.